Hey, welcome to episode 7 of Bit by Bit. In this episode, we're going to talk about Merlin 8 full screen editor and make the transition to using it as our preferred editor for the assembly language stuff that we're doing. In order to use it, you have to have 128K of RAM, which our enhanced Apple and the Apple IIe emulator does. You're going to need the manual and you're going to need a disk image. I'll put links to the disk image and the manual in the description. Let's get started. I'm referring to my notes, so I'll look at it every once in a while. Sorry about that. I've grabbed my Merlin 8 disk. This is Merlin 8 version 2.48. It's a DOS 3.3 version, and I'll add it to the emulator to disk 1. And for disk 2, we'll leave Merlin work where we've stored other programs, and we'll continue to do so until we run out of room, which hopefully never happens, but it can happen. Anyhow, once we've done that, we're going to restart the machine, and it's going to come up with the familiar Merlin look. This Merlin's a little different. First off, you notice that it's in 80 column mode. Yay. 40 columns is a little constrained. And we're on drive 1. We need to switch to drive 2. And this works the same way as the old Merlin. So we just hit D, and that changes to drive 2. Now we can choose to edit source just like we normally would. And when we do that, it's going to look something like this. And a shout out goes to Chris Torrence for already having a video that talks about Merlin 8. And I'm just riffing off of that because he did a good job. And otherwise, I had no idea how to use Merlin 8. So, because the manual isn't all that great. Now, to be fair, Chris did it in the context of developing a device driver for some timing hardware, but still. So I'm going to follow kind of in his footsteps here, but very concisely, hopefully. So here we are in the editor, and the normal commands that we know, A and Q and stuff like that, will work. So we're going to type A to go into the append or add mode. But now things go way off the rails. This is completely different than the line-oriented version. We have a blinking eye, which means we're in insert mode. We can type right now. We can hit the backspace to go back. You can hit Control D for delete, forward delete, which is kind of cool. But when it's blinking eye, it's in insert mode, which means if we type hello space world, and realize it's not a text editor. We're not editing text, we're editing assembly language, so it knows about fields and stuff. This is completely invalid, but if we're in this mode, we can move the cursor around. We can also move the cursor up and down, okay? And as we do up and down, we'll notice that the column identifier, the row identifier over here changes, shows I'm a row 5, or line 5, sorry. And there's this pipe bracket over here. That shows us where, if I remember right, it's sort of the end of the line. You don't want to go past that. You can go past that probably, but if you do, think pronouns and stuff like that are going to go wonky. So it's sort of the recommended end of line. But when we're in this mode with this insert thing, when we type characters, they get inserted and the stuff gets pushed over. All right, there's another mode called overwrite mode or what, not insert anyway. And the way we get there is we hit tab and the blinking eye goes away. Now when we type stuff, lo and behold, it just overwrites. All right, so arrow keys, left and right, up and down, Control D to forward delete, backspace to go back in the line, and it kind of maybe sort of delete-ish, but no, don't count on that. Control D is kind of the important one. Another one that we can use, this is kind of going to be orthogonal here. When we control something like Control D, we can also open Apple, which is your left Alt key, most of you. We'll do it at a larger scale. So if I hit Alt D, it gets rid of the whole line. All right, so that's a little bit about that. What else do I want to cover real briefly in this intro stuff? So to gain parity with what we kind of know about the line editor, we can do open Apple 8. So that's the left Alt and the 8 key. That gives us a line of asterisks. Then we can kind of enter down. And then if we want the little box thing where we have an asterisk on the start and the end, we can do Open Apple, which is the left Alt 9 key. Okay, which does that. And if we're in overstrike mode, which we are, or we can get there by originally pushing tab, then we can just kind of write in the box. We can call this, let's see, we'll do the bell again, I guess. There's bell. We don't have to get too terribly verbose in this, but it's a bell app. And then the Alt 8 will give us the closing. I'm sorry, will give us the rest of the box. And then we can type our own little asterisks and stuff like that. Way back when I said, and I'm going to get out of overstrike mode, so I'm in insert mode for sanity's sake. And to do that, I'm going to do Control I think. Yes, Control I gets us back into insert mode. But way back when I said that we couldn't have, what was this? OBJ anymore once we go to full screen. And this is not allowed. We can't do this. It's a little bit trickier to get it into memory when we're just in the editor, but this isn't an allowed thing. So what is allowed and what's necessary is org. And then you see I'm in insert. I'm in insert mode, so things are a little wonky. But I'm going to Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D to get back to this. And here we are with org 300. There. I can leave a blank line or I can hit asterisk. And then to do the bell thing, I could label it. We could call it bell here. And then I could say JSR, then $FBDD. That jumps to the bell subroutine. And then we can return just space and then RTS, return from subroutine. And then another asterisk, I suppose, and then a space. And then we can say list off, just like before. Otherwise, this is pretty much identically the same thing. We're just doing it in a full screen mode. And it's really convenient. And if there were a problem, I could just arrow up and start making changes. So pretty reasonably just like all others. When you're done editing, a few more key combinations. Control B and Control N, supposedly they work. Open Apple B takes you to the beginning of the file. Open Apple E, which is the alt key, takes you to the end of the file. Apparently, all right. Okay. Control D. All right, forget that about the Alt D. I don't know. Maybe I'm not pressing it right. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that doesn't work. But otherwise, looks like it's pretty reasonable. Now, we can end our time with the editor by, where the heck did I go? Oh no. By Open Apple Alt Q. And that takes us out of the full screen mode back into the regular editor mode. We can list our file. We can assemble our file. And if there are no errors, then we can run it eventually, but not right now. So for example, if I enter the monitor, which is going to require that I kind of reset the machine to get back to reasonable. But if I go into the monitor and I take a look at 300, you can see that the code that I wrote is not there because we didn't do OBJ. To get it there, I have to compile it. I have to run it. And to run it, I have to be in BASIC. So to get back to reasonable, I think I can do 3D0G won't get me back, but it's the same as pressing Control F2. Okay, and it pulls us all the way back to here. We can go back into the editor with E. We can list again. We still have it assembled, so we can hit Q. And you can see that the source and the object are both specified. The object code is 4 bytes, and its origin is at 300. Let's save the source. We'll call it tbell2, I guess. And then we'll save the object code. We'll actually save the object code, yes. And now we have it on the catalog and we can see it. There's a lot of test bells because they've been played. But there's the test tbell2.s and the tbell2 straight up. We can go back to here and we can quit into basic and we can run test bell. When we do, now it's in memory. It's at 300, and we can see that by entering the monitor and taking a look around. JSRFBD RTS. So there it is in memory. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's it. Not much more that I know about it. I'm sure it does a lot more stuff. Like I said, I'll put the link to the disk image for the Merlin 8 emulator, as well as a link to the manual. And hope this helps. Thanks.